Imagine a killer who taunts the police with letters, ciphers, and cryptic clues. A shadowy figure who strikes in the dead of night, leaving behind a trail of bodies and questions that remain unanswered to this day. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer, one of the most infamous unsolved cases in American history. Who was he? Why did he kill? And why, after over 5 decades, does his identity remain a mystery? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the darkness of this chilling case. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles, where we uncover the stories that keep you up at night. Today, we're tackling the Zodiac Killer, a case that's haunted investigators, amateur sleuths, and true crime fans for generations. This isn't just a story about murder. It's a puzzle, a psychological game, and a cultural phenomenon. By the end of this video, you'll know everything we do about the Zodiac, and maybe, just maybe, you'll have your own theory about who he was. Hit that subscribe button, grab a notebook, and let's get started. The late 1960s were a time of change in America. The Summer of Love, the Vietnam War protests, and the rise of counterculture defined the era. But in the San Francisco Bay Area, a darker force was emerging. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror began in 1968, and his crimes would shock the nation. It all started on a cold December night in 1968. David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, were on their first date, parked in a lover's lane on Lake Herman Road in Benicia, California. The young couple had no idea they were being watched. At around 11:15 p.m., a car pulled up nearby. A figure stepped out, approached their vehicle, and opened fire. David was shot in the head, killed instantly. Betty tried to flee, but was gunned down, just feet from the car. The killer left no fingerprints, no clear motive, and no witnesses. The police were baffled. This double murder was brutal. But it didn't make national headlines, yet. At the time, investigators thought it might be a random act of violence, maybe a crime of passion. But 7 months later, the killer would strike again, and the world would start to take notice. On July 4, 1969, another young couple, Darlene Ferrin, 22, and Michael Mageau, 19, were parked at Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo, just a few miles from the Lake Herman Road crime scene. It was just after midnight when a car pulled up beside them. The driver stepped out, shone a flashlight into their vehicle, and fired multiple shots. Darlene was killed, but Michael, despite being shot in the face, neck, and chest, survived. He later described the attacker as a stocky man, about 5'8", with a round face. But the darkness and chaos made it hard to be certain of anything else. What happened next would elevate this case from a local tragedy to a national obsession. About 40 minutes after the attack, a man called the Vallejo Police Department from a payphone. His voice was calm, almost mechanical. He said, "I want to report a murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to the public park, you will find the kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year." The call was traced to a phone booth near Darlene's house, but the caller was gone. This chilling confession marked the first time the killer claimed responsibility for both the Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs attacks, but he wasn't done. On July 31, 1969, 3 newspapers, the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald, received nearly identical letters. The writer claimed to be the killer and included details only the perpetrator would know. Each letter also contained 1/3 of a 408-symbol cipher, which the writer claimed would reveal his identity. He demanded the newspapers publish the ciphers on their front pages, or he would kill again. The newspapers complied, and the ciphers were published on August 1st, 1969. Within days, a high school teacher named Donald Harden and his wife Betty cracked the cipher. The decoded message didn't reveal the killer's name, but offered a glimpse into his twisted mind. It read, in part, "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife." This was no ordinary serial killer. This was someone who craved attention, who saw himself as a mastermind playing a deadly game with the police and the public. He signed his letters with a symbol, a circle with a cross through it, like a gun sight. The media dubbed him the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac's next confirmed attack came on September 27, 1969, at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. Cecilia Shepard, 22, and Brian Hartnell, 20, were relaxing on a peninsula by the lake when a man approached them. He wore a bizarre costume, a black hood with a white circle and cross symbol on the chest, sunglasses over the eye holes, and a gun in his hand. He claimed he was an escaped convict who needed their money and car to flee to Mexico. He tied them up with clothesline, then pulled out a knife and stabbed them repeatedly. Brian survived, but Cecilia died 2 days later in the hospital. Before leaving, the killer scrawled a message on the couple's car door with a marker. It included the dates of the previous attacks, the words "by knife," and the Zodiac's signature symbol. An hour later, he called the Napa County Sheriff's Office from a payphone, confessing to the crime in that same eerie, emotionless voice. The call was traced, but again, he was gone. The Zodiac's final confirmed attack took place on October 11, 1969, in San Francisco. Paul Stein, a 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a passenger in the Presidio Heights neighborhood. The passenger shot Stein in the head, took his wallet and keys, and tore off a piece of his bloodied shirt. 3 teenagers across the street witnessed the murder and called the police, describing the killer as a white male, about 35-45 years old, with a crew cut and glasses. Police searched the area, but missed the killer by minutes. The Zodiac later mailed a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, including a piece of Stein's shirt, to prove his involvement. He claimed responsibility for the murder and taunted the police for their failure to catch him. By now, the Zodiac was a household name. His letters kept coming, each one more taunting than the last. He claimed to have killed dozens of people, though only 5 murders and 2 attempted murders are officially linked to him. He sent more ciphers, including the 340-symbol cipher, in November 1969, which remained unsolved for 51 years until a team of amateur code breakers cracked it in 2020. The decoded message didn't reveal his identity, but further mocked the police, saying, "I am not afraid of the gas chamber, because it will send me to paradise all the sooner." The Zodiac's letters were a mix of bravado, riddles, and threats. He demanded that people wear buttons with his symbol, claimed he was inspired by the opera The Mikado, and even hinted at disguising his murders as accidents. One letter, sent in April 1970, included a cipher and a diagram for a bomb he claimed to have planted. Another, in July 1970, referenced a missing woman named Donna Lass, who some believe was a Zodiac victim, though her case remains unconfirmed. Who was the Zodiac Killer? Over the years, investigators and amateur sleuths have named dozens of suspects. One of the most prominent is Arthur Leigh Allen, a Vallejo resident with a criminal history. Allen was a large man, matching the physical descriptions provided by survivors. He owned a typewriter similar to the one used for the Zodiac's letters, wore a Zodiac brand watch with the same circle and cross symbol, and was reportedly obsessed with codes and hunting. A search of his home in 1992 found incriminating items but no definitive evidence. Allen died in 1992, and DNA tests in the 2000s failed to conclusively link him to the crimes. Other suspects include Ross Sullivan, a librarian with mental health issues who resembled the Zodiac's composite sketch. Earl Van Best Jr., whose name some claim fits the ciphers, and Gary Francis Post, identified by a cold case team in 2021 based on circumstantial evidence. Despite these leads, no one has been definitively proven to be the Zodiac. Some even speculate the killer could have been multiple people, or that he stopped killing and faded into obscurity. The Zodiac case has left an indelible mark on popular culture. The 2007 film Zodiac, directed by David Fincher, brought the case to a new generation, focusing on the obsessive quest to identify the killer. Books, podcasts, and documentaries have kept the mystery alive, and online forums like those on Reddit and X are filled with theories and debates. The 2020 decoding of the 340 cipher reignited interest, with posts on X speculating about new leads and hidden messages. Why does the Zodiac case still captivate us? It's not just the brutality of the murders or the taunting letters. It's the idea that someone could commit such crimes, manipulate the public, and vanish without a trace. The Zodiac played a psychological game, turning his crimes into a spectacle. He wanted to be famous, and in a twisted way, he succeeded. So, what do we know today? The Zodiac is officially linked to 5 murders and 2 attempted murders between 1968 and 1969. He sent at least 18 letters, 4 ciphers, and countless threats. Advances in DNA technology have offered hope, but testing on items like stamps from the Zodiac's letters has been inconclusive. Posts on X as recent as August 2025 suggest ongoing amateur investigations, with some users claiming to have found new connections in the ciphers or suspect profiles, though nothing has been verified. What do you think? Was the Zodiac a lone genius, a group of killers, or someone hiding in plain sight? Could he still be alive, watching the world obsess over his crimes? Drop your theories in the comments below, and let's keep this mystery alive. If you want more deep dives into true crime, hit that like button and subscribe for weekly videos. Until next time, stay curious and maybe check your locks tonight.